Have you ever had this feeling when you feel like you going for your walks, you're doing your exercises, you're trying to pay attention to nutrients, you're trying to hit your macros, you're trying to stay in calorie deficit, you're paying attention to the fiber, you're trying to eat more veggies, you're doing all those healthy things that we're supposed to do, but you understand that the only reason you keep doing it, the only reason you push yourself to do all those steps is only for one particular goal: to lose weight, to get smaller, to get slimmer, to fit into smaller size. And even though it kind of feels like a normal wish to lose weight, to kind of get healthier, but recently I've noticed that once I'm paying so much attention to the food I'm eating, how many calories I burned, and I'm constantly checking my watch to see how many calories I burned through this walk or how many steps I hit. So in case I hit this amount of step, probably I have lost I have burned this amount of calories. And it's all of this thinking like revolving about this idea that I want to get smaller, I want to lose weight. And the problem with this mindset, that it's some kind of obsession, I noticed that in case I'm not losing weight, and even when you are trying to hit your macros and you're trying to pay attention to walking or some other exercise, you're not always going to lose weight or lose the weight as fast as you want to. And it feels like I'm not enjoying. So I'm not enjoying this walk. I'm not enjoying this healthy food because I feel it's like some kind of obligation. Like I must do it. I have to do it. That's the only way I'm gonna lose weight. Or it even feels sometimes like some kind of punishment. I am restricting myself from eating certain amount of food, or I'm trying to hit that amount of steps, or I'm trying to do that particular workout because now I'm not in the body that I want to be. I want to fix myself. I want to get smaller. And as some kind of punishment, I'm doing all those things to me. And it was some kind of like eye-opening idea that it's very unhealthy attitude. So I've did some research online, I've read some article, I checked some books devoted to this topic, and what I understood that the only way to find out of this problem, to find a way out of this unhealthy attitude, is to actually to teach yourself to love those activities without keeping in mind that the only reason you do it is for losing weight. And it's easier said than done, but I have found some interesting strategies that I have been testing for the last 2 weeks. And even though I'm not yet completely there where I want to be in terms of how I feel about my food and how I feel about my walking, my exercising, it's kind of feel better. And even though still there are days when I feel I'm kind of faking it, this enjoyment around those activities, even though in the back of my head I still have this idea that the only reason I do it is actually only to lose weight, only to burn my calories, or only to avoid certain foods that can be high in calories. It's kind of getting better. And it's hard when you're only starting, but the more you are on this road, the more attention you're paying for that, the easier it's actually getting. So I want to share a couple of strategies, a couple of approaches that helps me to move in that direction, to go away from this obsession with only weight loss and this idea that I only pay attention to my calories and I only pay attention to my nutrition and sport because I only want to lose weight. And since I'm not losing weight, so it doesn't make any sense anyway, and like, what's the point I'm doing that? So the first step in this way is obviously to see the truth, to accept the truth, and to name the truth. You should be honest with yourself and tell yourself honestly, okay, so the only reason I'm walking, the only reason I'm doing this or that is because I want to lose weight. And for me, losing weight is so important that I'm ready to do this and that. And the only way I can feel better if when I'm smaller, when I can fit into smaller size, when I can buy myself a smaller pair of jeans, when I kind of can fix myself, my body with all of these activities. And it can be hard to accept because sometimes we are lying to ourselves and telling, no, I do it for my health, no, I do it for to feel better, to my mood, to my mental health, which partially can be true. It's not like we completely lie to ourselves. But in case you have issues with food, as I do, and in case you have a long history of dieting, unhealthy relationship with food in general, cravings, emotional eating episodes, binge eating episodes, then this issue is a little bit more complex. So obviously the very first step, be honest with yourself, accept the issue, look at this issue and tell yourself, okay, this is my situation. I'm now in this situation. Next point is about extending the idea of why. So even though we're trying to change this mentality, it doesn't mean that we need to give up this idea of losing weight, because it also gonna create some kind of inner resistance, some inside fight. No, we still can keep in our head this idea that we are doing sport or we are trying to pay attention to our nutrition in order to lose weight. That's okay. But we need to extend our why. We should not only be obsessed only with losing weight. And the only way to do it is actually to ask yourself questions. And it's like, what kind of person I want to be in the near future? How do I want to feel? How I want to feel when I walk, for example. How I want to feel when I wake up in the morning. How I want to feel when I go out with my friends. How I want to feel when I do something which now kind of a bit uncomfortable for me to do, but I imagine myself in a different scenario in the future. And what helps especially me recently, it's like how I want to age. What kind of woman I want to be when I'm 60, 70, 80, 90. How I want to feel. Do I want to still being able to walk? Do I still want to be able to go to supermarket and carry my own groceries? Do I want to enjoy this life and go to nice places and travel and visit some places which I now like to visit? Will I be able 40 years later, 30 years later, be able to do what I'm doing now with the same stamina, with the same desire? And what can I do in order to be that person? If I want to be still active old lady, full of energy, what can I do now? And the answer is pretty obvious. We already know all of that we need to pay attention to what we're eating, we need to pay attention to our physical exercises, to our some physical activity in general. And there is no probably universal advice in this case, because we are all so different. What is important for me might be not important for you. That's why it's a very good idea to ask yourself as many questions as possible and be as honest as possible with yourself. So, how I want to look like in the future? How do I want to feel like in the future? What kind of person I want to be 1 year later, 10 years later, 50 years later? And check yourself if it feels like it's kind of important to you, or you're just like repeating something that other influencers are telling or friends around you want to do, which is also a good idea. It can help you to pick up some tools, some ideas on the way. But it's really important to find our own desire, our own needs, because once we will be able to identify them, grab them, it will be so much easier to tie this idea why I need to pay attention to what I'm eating, why I need to pay attention to my physical activity, because there will be a very strong why behind it. And this why will be true why for you. Not because somebody said so, but because you feel this is what you really truly want in your life. Next part, it is something that I'm actively working on right now. It's redefining the idea of entertainment, of joy, and of pleasure. For now, maybe walking for some of us is not as enjoyable, or eating salad instead of pizza or ice cream is less enjoyable, let's say. And it takes time to build up this true, honest, genuine satisfaction from these activities. And even though at the beginning it's gonna be kind of like fake, but this idea, fake it till you make it, really works. And this is something that I started working even previously, and I already told about that in some of my previous videos. So first you will be kind of lying to yourself, like, oh my god, I like this salad so much, like, oh my god, I get to walk outside in this lovely sunny day and enjoy this nice fresh air, this nice view that I see around. And at first it feels like you are lying to yourself, or partially half lying to yourself. But the more you tell it to yourself, the more you tell it to your brain, it's gonna feel more and more natural. And you will see just a few weeks later or a few months later, depending where you are and where you wanna be, you will feel like it's no longer getting like a lie. Slowly you start believing that. You start really feeling like that. And all those activities which look like some kind of punishment, like some kind of obligation before, will start feeling like real joy, real entertainment, something that really brings you that satisfaction. You just need to have the belief, have the truth in that, have truth in yourself, and keep doing, and you will see sooner or later you will be in that place when it's no longer feels like something fake. My next point is connected with this idea that we need to pay attention to our inner language, especially if it's some kind of trigger topic for you, like food or sport or whatever you're dealing with. What kind of language do we use? How do we treat ourselves? How we value ourselves? So in case I'm ate that cake that I have not supposed to do, or maybe I skipped my workout, how do I feel about that? Do I feel like I'm less worthy now because I did so, or not? And the key point here is just not to connect your self-love, self-respect, self-value to all those things. The idea is, no matter what you do, you are always loved, you are always respected, you are always valuable. And I wish there could be easier way to deal with that, and I'm not sure I can even recommend something right now, because for me it's still quite a big issue. But again, once you start paying attention to the voices in your head, in a good meaning of that, not in the crazy one, to what you're saying to yourself, how you talk to yourself, and you will start correcting something that you don't want to have in your head. Slowly situation is getting better, and there are some special techniques for that, and I'm gonna make a separate video about self-talk and how to deal with all those negative self-talk. But overall, it starts with paying attention, identifying, hearing those voices, and slowly transform them in the way you want to them feel, in the way you want to hear them in your head. And my last point here, it's something that in psychology they call identity over outcome. So the idea here is quite obvious. Instead of paying attention only to outcome, how many steps you have done, how many exercise per week you've done, or how many kilograms you have lost in this month, we should look at our identity. So we should focus on our action, not on the result, because result can be unstable, especially if you're a woman. You have these natural cycles, you have some better days, some worse days. One day you had maybe a salty meal, so you have more water inside your body, and like, it's all so very unstable. and we think that, okay, I did all these exercises, I paid attention to my nutrition, so at the end of this week I'm supposed to be 1 kilogram less. But you don't see it, and you feel disappointed, and you feel like a loser, like nothing is working. But in case you stop paying attention to that, to the results, to the outcome, and you will start pay attention to actual activity you are doing, to your identity. So this week I was able to walk outside 3 times. Okay, great, it's already done. So this week I was trying to pay attention to my nutrition. In this month I have done that many workouts, for example. And you're focusing on the identity. So I am that person who loves healthy food. I'm that person who loves doing different kind of activities. I'm that person who loves walking outside, who walks that amount of steps. And you will see, sooner or later, you eventually gonna hit your weight loss goals, because you're already doing everything in order to reach them. The only thing you need to start paying attention is to building these habits long term, to building this identity. Because once you really become the person who loves sport, who loves healthy food, there is no way that you're gonna reach a more healthy weight, or you're gonna reach a more strong and healthy and flexible body in case you were doing all those steps. So there's still many things to tell about, and obviously I'm gonna make a couple of more videos devoted to this topic. But what I want to say, and maybe it will be helpful for some of you who are also dealing with similar issue as I do, to my mind, being so obsessed with weight loss, especially for those of us who have been having extra weight, who have been obese and overweight for many years, it's not so healthy. And the only way to actually lose weight and to be more healthier and be stronger is actually to change the attitude and find enjoyment in the process. Enjoy actually the journey, enjoy this road you're walking to, but not the end result. So I hope you like this video. If you find this video useful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you soon.